They called it a mining revolution. In reality, it was just a global Ponzi scheme, a house of cards built on digital dust and broken promises. This is the story of the BitClub Network, a phantom enterprise that lured tens of thousands of hopeful investors into a fake Bitcoin mine, only to vanish with their fortunes. It's a modern-day gold rush tale where the only ones who struck gold were the criminals who orchestrated the entire charade. For years, they operated in the shadows of the booming cryptocurrency world, exploiting the very trust that underpins blockchain technology. But as their digital empire grew, so did the scrutiny from law enforcement. What began as a whisper of fraud in online forums would soon escalate into a full-blown international investigation. A cat-and-mouse game played across continents, from the suburbs of New Jersey to the tropical islands of Indonesia. The hunt was on, and the FBI was closing in. The pitch was irresistible, a siren song for the digital age. In 2014, as Bitcoin began its meteoric rise into public consciousness, a new venture emerged, promising to unlock the wealth of this new frontier for the average person. This was the BitClub Network. Its founders claimed to operate a massive state-of-the-art cryptocurrency mining pool, a complex web of powerful computers dedicated to solving the cryptographic puzzles that generate new bitcoins. For a price, anyone could buy a share in this operation. You didn't need technical expertise or expensive hardware. You just needed to invest. The company's promotional materials were slick and convincing, featuring dazzling graphics of server farms and testimonials from seemingly overjoyed members who were reaping daily profits from their mining shares. They promised guaranteed returns, a passive income stream that would flow directly into your digital wallet. But the promise was built on a foundation of lies. The massive mining operation, the core of their entire business model, was a fiction. While a sliver of the investors' money, less than 30%, investigators would later discover, was used to fund some actual mining activity to maintain the illusion of legitimacy. The vast majority was simply funneled into a classic Ponzi scheme. Early investors were paid returns using the money flowing in from new recruits. This created a powerful illusion of success, turning satisfied early adopters into the company's most effective salespeople. They were encouraged to recruit friends, family, and colleagues with promises of hefty bonuses for bringing more people into the fold. The scheme was a masterclass in manipulation, preying on a combination of greed and the fear of missing out on the next big thing. The founders, Matthew Brent, Goetsch, Russ Albert Medlin, and Yobadia Sinclair Weeks, referred to their victims internally with shocking disdain, calling them sheep and dumb investors who were building our entire model on the backs of idiots. They were architects of a digital phantom, and for a time, they were ghosts, untouchable and growing richer by the day. By 2018, the whispers of discontent had grown into a roar of outrage. Investors from around the world, who had poured their life savings into the BitClub dream, found their daily profits dwindling to nothing. The promised withdrawals became impossible to process. Panic set in. Complaints began to flood the inboxes of law enforcement agencies, painting a picture of a massive, coordinated fraud. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, working alongside the IRS's Criminal Investigation Division, officially launched a sprawling inquiry. The challenge was immense. BitClub Network was a decentralized operation by design, with no physical headquarters and a labyrinthine structure that spanned the globe. Its transactions were conducted in cryptocurrency, adding another layer of complexity and anonymity for investigators to unravel. The digital breadcrumbs were scattered across the blockchain, a public ledger that is both transparent and notoriously difficult to link to real-world identities without the right keys. The investigators began their painstaking work, combining old-school detective methods with cutting-edge forensic technology. They subpoenaed records from cryptocurrency exchanges, meticulously analyzed the flow of funds on the Bitcoin blockchain, and pieced together the digital puzzle one transaction at a time. The picture that emerged was staggering. They discovered that from April 2014 to December 2019, the BitClub Network had swindled investors out of at least $722 million. Hundreds of millions were siphoned off by the founders and their top promoters to fund lavish lifestyles. The money trail led to luxury cars, opulent real estate, and extravagant world travel, all paid for with the stolen dreams of their victims. The dumb investors had unknowingly financed a life of unimaginable luxury for the very people who mocked them. As the evidence mounted, the net began to tighten around the masterminds of the scheme. had long since anticipated the day of reckoning. Sensing the authorities closing in, the founders scattered to the winds, becoming international fugitives. They believed their wealth and the borderless nature of cryptocurrency would make them untouchable. Matthew Goetsch and Yabadia Weeks fled to Spain, attempting to blend into the expatriate communities and continue living off their ill-gotten gains. Russ Medlin, the charismatic frontman of the operation, chose a more remote hideout, the idyllic shores of Indonesia, settled into a life of luxury, seemingly a world away from the grasp of American justice. They had planned their escape, but they underestimated the relentless reach of modern law enforcement and the immutable nature of the blockchain they had so expertly manipulated. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source: Visa data. While the criminals were adept at covering their digital tracks, their physical movements left a more traditional paper trail. International cooperation between the FBI and law enforcement agencies in Spain and Indonesia proved crucial. Authorities were able to pinpoint the fugitives' locations, cross-referencing travel records with intelligence gathered during the investigation. Simultaneously, the blockchain analysts had their own eureka moment. By meticulously tracking the flow of misappropriated Bitcoin from the BitClub wallets, they were able to link specific high-value transactions to cryptocurrency exchanges where the fugitives were attempting to cash out. These exchanges, compelled by subpoenas, provided the critical identity information that connected the digital ghosts to their real-world counterparts. The trap was sprung. Goetsch and Weeks were apprehended in Spain. At a dramatic arrest in Jakarta, Indonesian police, acting on a tip from the FBI, captured Russ Medlin. The Phantom had finally been given a face, and he was in handcuffs. The international game of hide-and-seek was over. In the end, this was more than just a story of financial crime. It was a profound betrayal. The very technology that promised to decentralize power and create a more transparent, trustless system was twisted into a tool for deception on a global scale. The founders of BitClub Network didn't just steal money, they weaponized hope and exploited the public's burgeoning faith in a revolutionary idea. They saw the dawn of a new technological era, not as an opportunity for innovation, but as a golden opportunity for a classic age-old scam dressed in modern clothes. The case of the BitClub Network stands as a chilling reminder that in any gold rush, for every genuine pioneer, there will always be phantoms in the machine, peddling fool's gold. It forces us to confront a difficult truth. When our trust in technology outpaces our understanding of it, we become vulnerable to the oldest crime of all, the con. And in the digital age, that crime can spread faster and wider than ever before, leaving a trail of devastation that spans the entire globe. The ghosts of BitClub may have been captured, but the cautionary tale they leave behind will haunt the world of cryptocurrency for years to come.